Hello and welcome back. In this short lecture, we're going to learn about how to add an application for your Android devices. Uh, just go to the Microsoft homepage, Azure portal, and then go to Microsoft Intune. And from here, you can go to the client apps and navigate to apps. This is where you're going to add actually different application categories. For example, if you're trying to add for Android devices, you would be choosing this. This is what the case for us now, and we're going to add for the Android. If it is for the iOS or Windows 8, which are upcoming all the lectures, we're going to test all these features. But for now, it's going to be Android. And for the Android, you can configure the application by giving a proper name, a description, and the publisher name, as well as the URL of that Google Play Store URL. If I just maximize this page, you would come to know how it looks like the URL. And the minimum operating system, like it's going to be 4 or till the pi. Whatever the version you want to choose, you can choose that. So let me fill all these categories, and then we'll look at how it looks like this. I've created here for the Microsoft Excel specific. I gave the name as a Microsoft Excel. And coming back to the description, I gave some description for the Microsoft Excel and the publisher as Microsoft. And this is the URL which if I go to the Microsoft, as per Microsoft suggestion, I can go back to the App Store URL, which is in this case a Google Play Store, and search for that specific application and take this entire ID and then copy paste that entire URL here as the App Store URL, and then the minimum operating system I have chosen as the Android 9.0, or I can say that it should be at least 7.0 because my OS mobile device may be a lower version, so I would be just choosing as the lower version. And the category of this would be a product, or it could be data management or books, or whatever the category of this specific application. It would be mostly Excel falls under business as well as the productivity. I would be choosing this any of them. And then do you want to apply this as the feature app in the company portal? What happens is when you actually configure as a feature, it's gonna show you in the home page. Basically, it's going to display the app suite completely into the prominently on the main page of the company portal when the users are trying to browse that specific application. So it would be highlighted altogether in the company portal, so users knows that hey, it's most important, and they, instead of they search it, even they simply they would be choosing that. That's where the specific option would be used. And coming back to the information, any of the other internal information or the privacy statements and owner, for example, in some of the companies like banking sites, they always give any of the application you try to push, there would be application owner. In that situation, if you want to mention that you application owner information, you can publish that owner information and any of the nodes as well as the logo of that specific application. And this is how you're going to publish the applications for Android devices, and click OK. That would create a configuration by adding for us, or it's going to be add now another app. Like it just created an application, and you can check out here this application is just created but it's not assigned. So if I want to assign for any of the group, like I may have a different group like all Android devices group, that's where I'm gonna publish this. From the assignments, click on add group and then select the assignments. It's going to be available or it's going to be mandatory for the users. So that way, if you are choosing as a required, that means it's going to be install that application automatically, and you would be giving the selected group. For example, I want to apply for all Android devices, so I'll simply select all Android device group, and that would automatically apply or install this specific application, which is in this case Microsoft Excel, to all Android users or the devices automatically. And if you want to configure here as the assignment type, here is a required or available for Android devices. That means it's going to be pop-up, and it's the user wish that if he wants to install, it's going to install, otherwise it's not going to install that specific application. And if you choose as the available with or without enrollment, that means it's just available in the company store or the application, and they can simply use that application And coming back to the required, it's going to be the mandatory for the user, so user must have to install that. And if user is not going to install, it's going to install automatically. And it's going to say that, hey, the behavior file, this is for all users or all devices. That's how you're going to configure. Whether if you configure for all users, it's going to install on all users wherever the users logs in. But if you configure all devices, it's going to configure regardless of the user type. And you can choose here the group, like we just chosen here all Android devices in this case, and simply select OK. That would actually configures here all Android devices or all Android device group. Either way, you can configure any of this group. Like these are my test groups. In your case, if you have any other further groups, you can apply this assignment. That would automatically creates that. And let's save this, so that is going to save that specific assignment. This is how you're going to create for Android specific applications. And let's review one more time. Like we went to the Microsoft Internet Portal and clicked on Client Apps and Apps, and this is where we try to add an app. For example, in this case, we just added here Microsoft Excel, and we can see that this app is already assigned as the status yes. And for that, what we have done is we chosen here the Android as the store app. And if we are trying for any other application, we may have to follow very similar steps, which I'm going to explain in the next lecture. Thank you for watching this.